Hello and welcome to Fifth and Grace. Today we are going to explore a little bit about Keir Starmer and the UK Labour government. This was a request from a subscriber. I hope she's a subscriber. I hope it's a she. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know how to say this person's name. I believe it's Nuala. And so if that's you, maybe just jump into the comments and let me know how to say your name. And if you're a he or a she, because I don't know. Anyway, so Nuala, hopefully I'm saying that right, wanted to know if the Keir Starmer Labour government would be in power for their full elected mandate and term. I think there's a lot of people around the world wondering the same thing about their own government. So, and to be honest, I didn't really know much about this. I wasn't well educated. I live in Canada. We got our own problems here. So I'm very, very focused on what's going on with our own government and not really spending a lot of time focusing on other governments. But I hear things, I see things. I watch 2C TV, and I'll put the link to his video about this topic of like grandmothers being arrested and questioned by the police for Facebook posts and things like that, because I think that is an important conversation. And he makes some really good points about what is the purpose of these police visits to your house over your Facebook posts. And during lockdowns in Ontario, where I live, someone not far from me also got a visit from the police for something they posted on Facebook. So these globalist WEF governments do not like anybody disagreeing with them. We know that because even in Ontario, wasn't it, I may have this wrong, but let's just say it was an NDP MP. So that's the New Democratic Party, which is like our socialist party in Canada. A member of their party wants to make it illegal in Canada to verbally say or type that oil and gas is good. You go to jail for that. There's so many things that you can go to jail for. And that's not law right now, but he wants it to be. There's so many things that you can go to jail for in Canada that just, it's like the world is upside down. So I can imagine that Keir Starmer, especially when he's talking about things like 2030, he's cut from the same cloth as Justin Trudeau, Mark Carney, Macron, the Australia Prime Minister, I can't remember his name, all these people, and Keir Starmer, of course. Anybody who's speaking the way that he does about certain topics, that's the red flags right there. That's how you know. They all lay it all out for you. The thing is that most people don't understand it, or they're not even aware of it to know what these politicians are really saying. Canada is a highly censored country right now because we've got so many censorship laws. I'm sure at some point I'll go to jail for something I've posted on Facebook. So anyway, if that looked a little bit weird, it's because it was. Right in the middle of this, of me talking about going to jail for something I've posted on social media, my husband called. He's out with my son trying to get to band practice. And so he called, and he doesn't usually. But of course, because this whole weekend, every single time I've tried to do a video, go live, anything else, he appears to disrupt everything. So I don't know. I thought as soon as they're gone, I'll sit down and record a video. Anybody who's married knows what I'm talking about. I love my husband, but holy smokes, you got to call right in the middle of a video. Anyway, so let's return back to our topic. And again, I'll just point out that if you know all of this, I'm time stamping when we actually start the tarot card. So you can jump ahead if you're already aware of the Keir Starmer situation. I was not. So I thought, you know what, I better do a little bit of research before I actually even talk about this, so I don't sound like an idiot. Okay, so I did a little bit of Googling, and I found their 5 policies, the UK Labour Party 5 policies. The first one is kick economic growth, or kickstart economic growth to drive growth, rebuild Britain, support good jobs, unlock investment, and improve living standards across the country. I'm not hearing that any of that is happening. That's for sure. Make Britain a clean energy superpower through delivering clean power by 2030 and accelerating to net zero. There is your World Economic Forum vernacular. And that's their agenda. So whenever I hear that, I know that the person saying it is probably part of the World Economic Forum. And if you don't know what that is, I'm not going to educate you on it. You can go Google it and find out for yourself. There are two kinds of people in the world. There's people who know that this is evil, pure evil. And then there's people who are like, what? They're just trying to make the world a better place. Yeah, the World Economic Forum, I would guess the conversations they have is like when they're talking about net zero and reducing carbon and everything else, we are the carbon they want to reduce. So when they're saying, yeah, people are like, yeah, they just want to make the world a better place. Yeah, if there were no human beings living on this planet, the world would be a better place, right? So they care more about carbon and climate than they do about human beings who are literally being bankrupted and starved to death for the sake of climate. And that's not cool. So anyway, that's my opinion on that. Their third policy agenda is take back our streets by having serious violent crime. Not having serious violent crime. They do. Having, like HALVING, like cutting it in half. They're going to cut serious violent crime in half and raise confidence in the police and criminal justice system to the highest levels. Fun fact, my friends, I follow a bunch of UK commentators, political and entertainment, celebrity gossip commentators. If all you have to do is just look at YouTube videos over in Europe and the UK and to see that violent crime is increasing every single day. I'm actually kind of scared to go overseas right now. Because number one, I'll be arrested before I get between the plane and the immigration officer, the customs, the border officer, I'll be arrested, I'm sure. But also too, like you've got these radicals like driving their cars into crowds and stabbing people. These like stabbings constantly, all day, every day, overseas, and it's just awful. So I'm not seeing that the UK is cutting their violent crime in half. It's actually, I would say, increasing just based on my own observations. I don't have data on that, but if somebody does, please share it. And raising confidence in the police. The number of people in the UK that I have heard say they just don't even bother calling the police anymore because they're not coming. You can't get the police to come if someone broke into your house or if you're being attacked or something like that. But if you say something nasty about the government online, they'll be at your door and toot sweet. Toot sweet. That's French, by the way. Their fourth policy is break down barriers to opportunity by reforming our childcare and education systems to make sure there's no class, CLASS, ceiling on the ambitions of our young people. Did they have that before? If you were from a poor neighborhood, did you have your education denied? Is that what's going on? Reforming our childcare and education systems. How about just, how about teachers just teach and stop being activists? That would be a good place to start. And build an NHS fit for the future that is there when people need it, where everyone lives well for longer. I don't think people want to live longer these days. NHS, by the way, is the National Health Service. It's the British hospital doctor system. Like here in Ontario, we have OHIP. And so it's kind of like the same thing. So I looked at, I found an article because I was trying to find his connection to the World Economic Forum. He is listed on their website, but I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means he is, in fact, a paid, signed up, ranking member, or if they've just slapped his picture on there because they quoted him somewhere. I don't know. I couldn't find any solid confirmation one way or the other. So I did find when I was searching for that was an article that was written a year ago, so in 2024, that said, with a general election looming, Labour leader Keir Starmer has dispatched two of the most senior members of his team, Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves and Shadow Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds, to capitalize on the high-level meetings and business-friendly photo opportunities on offer at the annual World Economic Forum. And so they went to Davos. And if there's media all over the place in Davos. Apparently the population of that village or town like quadruples or something. Like it's because they fly in with like 200 staff and all their private planes and all their armored vehicles and everything else. The only one I think that doesn't necessarily take it to that level is Javier Milei, who is a South American president. He's a libertarian, and he flew a coach commercial just like everybody else, carried his own bag, walked through the airport, got on the plane, and then when people started to recognize him, this was last year, when people started to recognize him and realized who was sitting on the plane with them, they all started singing to him. So there you go. I mean, he's an incredible man, and he goes to Davos to tell them all off. So there you have it. And I think, did JD Vance just go to Davos? I can't remember. And so then I found somebody talking about this, and they said, in addition, he has made a lot of unpopular decisions, some of which they have had limited choices over, that tend to make headlines. This includes the massive tax rises they've just passed in the budget, cuts to the winter fuel payments for pensioners. And I've heard Neil Sean talking about this, that I think if you're an OAP, you get like a little, like a credit for heating your house. Because it's not like here, like they don't have big furnaces and everything like they do in Canada. And so they have like a thing on the wall that heats your house kind of thing. Where are we here? Winter fuel payments for pension, so they cut those out. Above inflation pay rises for the public sector, that means government workers. Record increases to government borrowing. Critical comments about Trump that have jeopardized the diplomatic relationship. Yeah, just like Justin Trudeau, who shiz-talked Trump, and now Canadians are paying the price for that. I don't blame Trump, I blame Justin Trudeau. And they carried on to say a politician's popularity tends to be highest when they can make popular decisions like tax cuts. Whew. I think he ran as Labour, but it was a bait and switch. That's kind of what I'm understanding from people. He's kind of spoken out against other politicians taking bribes and then takes bribes himself. He defends the terrorists, the Hamas terrorists, and he really doesn't seem to like working people, which is who he was elected to represent. So, yeah, that's Keir Starmer. And what's going on. I'd suggest you do your own research, do your own due diligence if this is something that you're interested in. So let's have a little look at the energy here around this. So I will timestamp this for you so that you don't have to get a political education just to watch a tarot reading. So we will jump ahead. Just go to the timestamp. I did give the cards a quick little shuffle, but we'll do it again now. And see, I'm just looking at the energy. The question on the table is, will the Labour government be in power for their full 4 or 5 year term? I'm not sure how long the terms are in the UK. Under the Westminster system, I believe they can... I believe they're like 4 years, but they can go an extra year to a 5 year. That's the situation we're in Canada right now, is everybody was hoping for an election in October of this year, and we might not get one for another year after that, if ever again. We don't know if we'll actually ever get an election again in this country. So we don't know, because we are in complete limbo right now, being held hostage by the government. Okie dokie. Let's see what comes out about Keir Starmer and the Labour government. It's an evolving situation, 100%. I am looking up the dates, as I always do, because you know that sometimes we land on something that, woo, blows our minds. So it's definitely evolving and improving. Unfortunately, the people don't have any power over this. There's no... with governments like this, they don't care what the people want. They don't care how the people feel. They don't care about the people. So you if you're a British citizen, a UK citizen, living there, having to live through this, I think the best thing you can do for your mental health is say, there's really nothing I can do. So fighting it every single day is just exhausting. And there's so many more productive things I can be doing. I don't spend my time fighting Justin Trudeau. I spend my time supporting the people who I would like to see elected instead. So there, you know what I mean? That's sort of how I manage myself through all of this, because it you know, there's a lot of stress over all of this. Like, it's, you know, people will say things to me like, Canada's the richest country in the world. Yeah, 10 years ago it was. We were the envy of the world, but not anymore. We're the pity of the world. So, and all it took was 10 years. So it's definitely not something that you'll be able to control or steer or direct yourself at this time. So the strong message that's coming in is accept that at this time, there's not a lot that you can do. So go do something more productive for yourself, for your community, and focus instead on fighting the government, supporting the government that you would like to see. A big message here is let go of the reins. Stop trying to drive the bus here, or drive the wagon, I guess, if we've got reins. Don't be so focused on what is going on that you don't like, that you're missing good stuff in your life. If you just turn off the TV, sometimes this all goes away. We do need to keep an eye on these people right now. I want to go back to a time in Canadian politics when it was gray and bland and boring, and I really didn't have to think about it very much. So I can imagine there's a lot of people like wishing that they had Boris back. Is that, I wonder if you're in the UK, is that a sentiment right now? Or like go back to a time when things were fine, and who was that? Support that direction. Support that direction for coming back. Things are like, this is the thing. When we see the wheel, this is not a static situation. It's constantly changing all the time. I don't really read the British news, but so the question I have for you, if you're in the UK, is it like just new nonsense every single day? Like every day it's just like, what's it going to be today? Because that's what it's like here, where every single day it's like, all right, what are these idiots going to do today? And that's why I haven't read on Canadian politics for a while, because it literally changes every single day. The landscape is constantly in flux. And that's what seems to be going on here too. It might not feel that way, and it might not look that way by the mainstream media, but I think if you kind of talk to more independent media and listen to them and kind of talk to people who, well, if you're allowed to talk to people and not being arrested for posting on Facebook, holy Hannah. I'll tell you what the woman said. Says she's a granny. She's in her 50s. I'm in my 50s. Apparently I'm in granny territory. But she said just simply like, these Labour MPs need to resign, essentially is what she said. And the police came to visit her for that. In Scotland, and JD Vance talked about this, but I knew this before JD talked about it, that if you live within the vicinity of an abortion clinic and you pray silently in your home you can go to jail. There's a woman in Toronto who's spent the last 10 years in jail for standing outside of an abortion clinic silently. So, I don't care what your political stripe is. I don't care if you like abortion, hate abortion, whatever. I don't care. Standing silently with your thoughts should not be a jail sentence when murderers are being sent out on bail. Drug dealers out on bail. Like nothing, right? Like it's everything's all messed up in all of these WEF countries. And if you don't know, like I said, if you don't know what WEF is, Google it. World Economic Forum. You'll find out all kinds of things. So, this card there's always an energy of kind of like 2 steps backwards, 1 step forward. So I think if you just stay strong and stay stoic, you'll get there. You'll eventually get there. Because there is a bit of a backwards momentum to this. Is almost like retrograde, right? There's a bit of a backwards momentum to it, that it feels like you're just constantly being pulled backwards. Just keep pushing forward, okay? Just keep doing what it takes to push forward on this. If you have to quietly underground plan your protests and everything else, do that. But yeah, I wouldn't be posting on Facebook if you are in the UK. Yeah, that's what Telegram is for. All right, the sun, and there's no timing connected to this card. The sun. Oh, there's definitely some healing to be done. Absolutely. This is a personal message for anybody watching. Give yourself some rest. You can't do this 24 hours a day. Give yourself some rest. Take some time off from the political scene. If you're feeling like it's consuming you, take a break. It'll be there when you come back. There's days when I just turn it all off and I'm like, no, I'm just going to go for a walk and, film some nice videos of nature, right? So you can just give yourself permission to, when it feels overwhelming, to take some time and space away from it and do something else productive in your life. There's definitely some grieving to be done. I know that there's many countries that are grieving the loss of what those countries once were. If you need to grieve, allow that. Let that move through you. Let it move through you. But the whole country needs to heal. The whole country is in pain right now. And we're talking about the UK specifically. Process your feelings. And encourage your friends to process your feelings. If you need to go to a rage room and smash things, do that. If you need to go to a field and scream, do that. Encourage other people around you to express, get it out. Because it will consume you and it'll kill you. And that's what they want. So don't let them win. Don't let them win. Because this is a healing card. And what my guides just popped in and said, don't forget what's done in the dark will come to the light. The sun is the best disinfectant. And just like all these other politicians, we'll probably hear all about the scandals soon enough. So there we go. There is no time connected to this, no dates connected to this card either. But because of the healing element of this card, it does appear when someone or something has gone through something really difficult and needs to rebuild. So that is each individual, but also the culture of the country. I know the UK is not a safe place right now. It's not the UK anymore. There's parts of Canada that aren't Canada anymore. And yeah, we all know the reasons why. I don't need to say it. I don't need to say it. 10 of Pentacles. Something is coming to completion. Our 10s are always about completion. So the date that we have here is September 12th to 22nd. So autumn. I want to say that it might take that long to get him replaced, whether with just another prime minister and the same party, or if there's like a whole election or something. I know is it the Reform Party and Nigel Farage and that I keep hearing about him and how he's up and coming, and everybody, you know, people like Dan Wooten and people like that are like, yeah, he's the next prime minister. We have the same situation in Canada where we already know what we want, but we just can't get it because the government won't allow an election. So I would keep an eye out for September. So what's that? 7 months from now. Hang tight. Just hang tight. It could be before then, because it could be, so it could be that he's just simply replaced as leader, that the party itself is like, no, we're done. We're done. And then they put somebody else in the leadership role. It could be that it could be that there is an election, that the whole thing just falls apart and that there is an election. I don't know what your election timing is in the UK. I know here it's 5-6 weeks is an election cycle. Not like America, where it's like as soon as the election is won, the next election starts. Like I feel like I've been campaigning for years with Americans. So whereas under the Westminster system, I think we have quick elections. I know here we're in the middle of a provincial election, and I think it was 5 weeks, maybe. The election date is next week, so and it was only announced in January. So we don't have these big, long campaign seasons. We just, and there's no big investiture ceremony, there's no, what did they call it? Oh God, I can't remember the word. The day that and the inauguration. Thank you. Sorry, thank you, my guides, for telling me the word. I watched the inauguration and it was a bit of a coronation, wasn't it? I was like, wow, I've been to less complicated weddings. So we don't do that here. The next day, the new guy just goes to work and leads the country. So, but I am getting the sense that something is coming to completion. There may be some news in September. So Noella, I hope that is improving your day. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens. We're going to keep an eye on this. We're going to keep an eye on this September date. The Four of Cups in reverse. Yeah, that is the Four of Cups in reverse. It's people waking up. I think that the UK has reached a critical mass and a tipping point where the majority, which could be 51% of the country, has woken up to what is really going on and how bad things are. And it's amazing, like we live in a society where two people can have entirely different experiences of things. It is really wild. And I think a lot of it is to do with what you consume and then your algorithm. So for example, my father-in-law consumes mainstream media and CNN. So he'll ask me things like, is Justin Trudeau, what has he done that people don't like him? Like, he's never receiving any information about the scandals and anything that's going on. It's just rah government propaganda. So there's people like that who have, and that was most of us 5 years ago. And then, the good thing about the last 5 years is a lot of people have woken up to what's going on. So, and if you don't like this conversation, that's okay. If this is too much for you, you can move on and just wait for the next video on Harry and Meghan or, whatever reading I've got next. Okay. This is okay. If you can't handle this, if this is too much, if this is upsetting you, this conversation, just click out and go watch something else. Okay? No hard feelings. I hope you come back for the other videos. But this is a really important topic in the world right now. And we're not going to skip over it because some people don't like the topic. If you're going to leave nasty comments, you're just going to be deleted and banned. So it's, you know what I mean? I'm a no nonsense kind of person. So if you want to have a fulsome, interesting conversation about this, yay. If you have information to provide, yay. But if you're going to attack me for talking about this, you're gone. Okay? Because I've had to do it on all my political videos where it's like, nope, you need to go. You can't handle this conversation like an adult. Okay? So people are waking up and they're seeing it and it's upsetting them. And the tides are turning. I think, you know, this is creating this, like the tides are starting to turn. People are starting to speak out, which is why the Labour government is sending the police to your house for saying the Labour government's got to go. They want to silence you. They want you, you know, we saw this during lockdowns. They didn't want you sitting with Uncle Jerry, who might have some pretty interesting thoughts about what's going on. They didn't want you there. And the people that they can capture are older people. Young people just do what they want. Gen Xers are like, don't even start. But older people, they tend to capture quite easily. And I don't mean physically capture and drag on. I mean, they capture their attention and their values and their beliefs and everything quite easily. And so they will scare those people. Absolutely. Like I said, I've linked the video to Tusi's episode about this. He explains it really, really well. He's in the UK. He understands it. He follows it. Go listen to him when you're finished here. Not now. Later. Stick around. And then we have the Six of Wands. Oh, and our card here, the Four of Cups, July 12th to 21st. So this summer could be the buildup. I don't even want to say what just popped in my head, but a lot of the things that have been going on where every single day it's a new attack and people are killing people. I think it is going to reach a tipping point in the summer. This card here, the July 12th to 21st, it'll be like, everybody's like, oh, we see it, finally. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, finally people are seeing it. If you are on the side of the population that doesn't like what's going on, and you know somebody who's been very supportive of what's going on, and suddenly they're starting to ask questions and they're starting to kind of maybe see things differently. If I can give you any advice, embrace them, comfort them because they're going to need it, and help them understand. Just gently give them resources, just gently point them in the right direction. Let them know maybe a commentator that they might want to listen to. Because what those people don't need is to be attacked. Don't do what they probably did to you. Okay? They probably, I can imagine somebody who over the years has attacked me for my political views would be very scared to come to me and say, I've seen a lot of things and I realize you were right. And I'm hoping we can talk about it. And I would say, is that your apology? And if they say, yeah, I'm sorry for the way I treated you, I was wrong, then yeah, embrace those people, embrace them, because they're going to need it. They're absolutely going to need it. They're so far behind on their information that their heads are going to explode. They're not even going to know what's going on. So just take them, give them a hug, comfort them, let them know they're safe with you, and that you're going to help them understand how we got here. Okay? And then let's look at our final card, our shadow card, Five of Pentacles. A lot of people look at this card and say, oh my God, everybody's going to lose all their money. That's not really what this card means. This card is just simply about changes, physical changes. So the timing of this card, April 21st to 30th. It's not a negative card. It's a neutral card. No matter what any fairground fortune teller tells you, this is just a neutral card. The artwork is so dramatic. I mean, look, I'm locked out of my house. This is Gen Xers in the 80s. We're locked out of the house. We weren't allowed to come home. Yeah. But look at, she's got the key. She's got the key. You've had the power all along. You've had the power along. It's like that picture that you see, and it's all the people like kneeling down under the table, and all the world leaders are around it, like moving tanks and things around, and all the people under the table holding the table up have to do is just stand up, and the game is over. So there will be a tipping point, I believe, that comes this summer. That's sort of the energy I'm getting here. And then September, there may be something going on. I don't know what that is. We'll dive deeper someday. And the reason I don't want to commit to any of like real answers about like what is going to happen in September is because I don't know enough about this to start saying names or anything else. I just know what I see on YouTube that flashes by me every once in a while. So please forgive me if that's not good enough for you. It's just that I don't, as a reader, as a mystic, a psychic, a tarot reader, all of that, I do not believe that I should be reading deeply on anything that I don't know about. I actually, a few months ago, saw a reader reading on somebody who's well known in the world, but they were like, I have no idea who this person is. I'm like, well, then you shouldn't be really reading on them. You know what I mean? If you know nothing, if this is the first time you've heard this person's name, you should probably educate yourself before you read on them, which is what I did, right? Because at least I know kind of what I'm talking about and why people don't like this man. So I'm not, at this time, I'm not educated enough on this particular topic. I will keep a closer eye on it so that later on I can do a reading on this again. But I just don't want to, I don't want to make a statement about anything when I don't even know who the players are. I don't know who's in the government. I don't, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm playing it a little bit cautious here, but I feel like by the end of the year, we've got some summer dates in September. By the end of the year, things could be very different. If that's important to you, if you get an election called, then I would strongly suggest you contact the person that you would like elected and volunteer for their campaign, help them out, door knock, stuff envelopes, make phone calls, do everything you can to get that person elected. That's what I plan to do. That's what many people I know plan to do. We're just sitting waiting. Be ready to go. You can, at this time now, if you know who would be running in the next election that you would like to see elected, contact their office and say, hey, can you just add me to the volunteer list so I get the emails about everything? They will be so happy. I wrote to one of the MPs, not my MP. He already knows I'm on board, but the MP north of me. I wrote to her office and did the same thing. And I said, listen, I want her to get reelected as well. So please put me down to volunteer. I don't know how much time I'll be able to give you, but whatever spare time I have from my own MP's campaign, I'll do my best to give that to this campaign as well. And hopefully we can get these people elected. And they wrote back the nicest email. They were so excited that somebody from a whole other region reached out to say, I'm willing to travel to your riding to help you. They were so excited. So, you know, you can start all of that now. And that's my little political rant. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But I'm going to say that by the end of this year, there's going to be something changing, something different. I'm going to study this a bit more. I'm going to study the topic a bit more, learn more about it, and we'll do this again in a month or so, and we'll see where we're at, okay? Noella, I thank you so much for asking this question. Thank you to every single person who has joined my world in the last week. I think There's like almost close to 140 new people this week. Oh, that just blows my mind. I'm so, I can't even, I'm so proud of myself. I'm not even going to sit here and say, I'm so humbled. No, I'm not. I'm feeling very buoyant right now and happy and pleased with myself for the videos this week that have gotten so many views, so many likes, and the comments. Oh my gosh, the conversation has been incredible. So thank you to everyone who has taken part this week. I hope you stick around for my videos that aren't about celebrity gossip and politics and big topics. I do have a lot of really beautiful work here. So please feel free to go back through my videos and see, like, I do readings to help you. I want you to have the most wonderful life, the life of your dreams and everything you desire, which is why I create readings here that you can do at home. You just follow along and pull your own cards and do your own readings for yourself. I mean, you can hire me to do it. You know, all my links are in the description. So if you want to book a private session with me, absolutely, let's do that. But I want to create things for people to be empowered and to be able to help themselves and have some hope. And that's why I do what I do here. And I occasionally throw in a Harry and Meghan or a political video just for fun because, you know, these things are on my mind too. So I thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope this has left you feeling a bit hopeful. Don't forget to click subscribe, click the like button, click the notification bell, leave a comment and let me know you were here. And of course, as ever, have a magical